Hey guys, it's Yojo93. This is take 2 of my DCEU movies ranked. Now that The Flash is in theaters, we gotta rank all DC movies from the worst to the best. This will be the final time we do this ranking because the DCEU is over. This is the end, guys. James Gunn's new universe will kick off. We have a couple more movies that are added in, but we know Blue Beetle is going to be, we might have 1 or 2 more movies like Aquaman, Lost Kingdom, so maybe we'll continue the ranking then. But we don't really know what's going to happen with that. I don't see this list changing that much. If we have to adjust those 2 movies, we will. But keep in mind, Blue Beetle as a movie, even if Blue Beetle is not in the DCU, which it's said to be in the DCU, they're saying the character is going to cross over to the new universe. So, even if the movie is a DCU movie, the character won't be in the DCU for long. So, overall, we'll get to that when we come around to it. We'll talk about it in December, in August and December again, and add to this list if we have to. But this will be one of the final times we do this. So, now we finally got the Flash, let's get into it. So, coming in at number 13 on the list is Justice League. I know it's actually titled Justice League, but it's not Justice League, it's Justice League. It's an abomination on this earth. It is horrible. The treatment that Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns did to these actors is horrible. The CGI is horrible. It looks like a PS2 video game. It looks horrible. There's some decent action scenes. It's all garbage, guys. This movie is garbage. And while the Snyder Cut is not on this list, the Snyder Cut is a better movie than this movie. The only reason the Snyder Cut is not on this list is that the Snyder Cut is a better version of a movie that I think a movie that should have never been made. I think they could have made a better Justice League movie than both of these movies. And I think the Snyder Cut is treated as, Warner Brothers doesn't consider it canon. So even though there is some hints of it in The Flash, here we talk about it as not being in the DCEU and being its own thing. So for me, I just didn't put it on the list because I just don't feel it fits with the DCEU storylines. Alright, so that being said, let's move on to number 12 on the list. Oh, one more thing. We also got an end credit scene that showed promise of the Legion of Doom, but we never got that. So Whedon lied to us, and we never got an awesome future. So coming in at number 12, finally, is the first Suicide Squad. Do I need to say more? Let's go with the pros first. Now, this movie does have Deadshot, played by Will Smith, which is great. It does have Margot Robbie, which is great. And it does have Joel Kinnaman, who plays Rick Flag, which is great. Rick Flag is a great character. Viola Davis, Amanda Waller, great. I liked El Diablo as well. His story was pretty cool. But Enchantress is just garbage. And they had Jared Leto here for a Joker, and they could have made him Joker, but they chose to only give him like 10 minutes of screen time. And then they made the Joker and Harley relationship romantic instead of toxic like it's meant to be. So it was weird. It was very weird. And so for me, that's why it gets number 12 on the list. Easily. Number 12. Alright, so coming in at number 11 on the list, we're going to go to... This one on our list is going to be Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Okay? So, Shazam! Fury of the Gods is a movie, and it's not nearly as good as the first Shazam. David Sandberg did a good job directing this movie. He had good ideas. There were good things, but unfortunately the execution failed. Helen Mirren plays an intimidating villain, but the ending of theirs and the way that they use their goddess and Rachel, whatever her name is, the younger chick, they just didn't deliver. This movie felt boring at times. They spoiled a cameo that would have been huge for the movie, and they ruined it. Because Wonder Woman's in this movie, guys, and it's not utilized in the way that it would be. They kill Shazam, and then they bring him back just so he can have his little funny moment with Wonder Woman. So overall, guys, this movie didn't deliver on the experience I was hoping it would. It didn't deliver, and it was really kind of sad to see that happen. Alright, coming in at number 10, Wonder Woman 1984. What can I say about Wonder Woman 1984? They had good ideas, like, they tried to bring back Steve Trevor. It works for the most part with this wishing rock, and then they built up Cheetah with the wishing rock, where she becomes stronger, wants to be the best apex predator, but when she becomes Cheetah, the execution is horrible. The third act of this movie is horrendous. It is horrible. The only redeeming quality of this movie is that there is a mall fight scene with one of them that I got to see at Comic-Con before it was released, and it was super cool, and I liked it, and the chemistry between Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman is good, and it does have some cool moments, but the more unfortunate side effect of this movie is, the best way to describe this movie is Pedro Pascal's character, Max Lord, says in the movie, "It was good, but it can be better. He says life is good, and it can be better. And that's how I feel about this movie. This movie is good at times, but by the third act, it needs to be better. And I just did not like this movie. It really was cringy. It really didn't work for me. It was one of the first COVID movies that I saw, but unfortunately it didn't deliver even on HBO Max. I didn't even see it in theaters. So that's why it gets number 10 on this list. Coming in at number 9 is Black Adam. So Black Adam is at number 9 on this list because here's the thing, right? So Black Adam is one of those movies where I enjoyed when I first watched it. Dr. Fate is cool, Atom Smasher's cool, Cyclone's pretty cool, but Dr. Fate dies. We have an end credit scene with Shazam. We have an end credit scene with Black Adam setting up Superman, but we never get this end credit scene. We never get to see what this continues to because we're starting a new universe. So this movie just doesn't do much for me anymore because what it sets up isn't happening. I did enjoy some of the action scenes. I do like The Rock in the Black Adam role, but unfortunately, Hawkman was really cool. I'd like to see a spin-off on him, but unfortunately this movie didn't deliver as much as I would have liked it to. It was a fun movie, but it just doesn't have a lot going for it considering its universe has already ended before we would have seen it better developed. So that's why it's number 9 on the list. And just remember, guys, this isn't the right list. It's just my list as a DC fan. These are the ones I consider to be the worst DC movies and the best DC movies, just so you know. Alright, this is where the list gets more interesting. Coming in at number 8 on the list, we have Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, The Ultimate Cut. Now this movie had a theatrical cut, had some cool scenes, but had some really bad writing issues, and this had studio involvement where Warner Bros. Wanted to put out a 2-hour movie, and it felt rushed, and they didn't deliver fully the experience they wanted. Then Zack Snyder released on Blu-ray and DVD a 3-hour cut of the movie. The 3-hour cut is better than the 2-hour cut, but there's weird choices in here. Like, I don't like Lex Luthor becoming a mercenary and trying to kill Lois. It doesn't fit Jimmy Olsen's character, and I wasn't a fan of Superman's best friend betraying him. It was a new angle, but it didn't work for me. Batman killing in this movie, Ben Affleck has a great performance, and they introduced him as Batman, and the Wayne murder and everything they set up. They do great setup for him. But one of my friends have debated this movie with me that they say that the thing you're supposed to understand about this movie is that Ben Affleck's Batman, Bruce Wayne, is not Batman. But the problem is if you're throwing batarangs and you're branding people with the bat symbol and you're wearing the Batman suit, you're Batman. So my problem is Batman committing mass murder on criminals in this movie. It just doesn't work for his character. It doesn't suit him. It doesn't really work, in my opinion. And so some of the writing is weird. The Martha bit doesn't work for me. The Batman vs. Superman fight was cool, but the way it ended by the Martha thing was kind of lame, and it doesn't really stand up in a real fight compared to the Civil War showdown between Iron Man versus Captain America. But it is still pretty good. The warehouse fight scene is cool, but it loses points for the idea that Batman is stabbing people and murdering them, unfortunately. There's brutality in it, and it is cool, but I like my Batman to be beating the crap out of people and not murdering them. So, in my humble opinion, as a Batman fan, that's why this movie... Also, I don't like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. He feels like he's playing Riddler, Joker, and Lex Luthor at the same time, and it just didn't work for me. So, overall, and, like, I love Henry Cavill, but Zack Snyder did not know how to write Superman. He just doesn't give him that hopefulness or that emotion that he needs, and I was very disappointed in that. So, that's why this movie gets number 8 on my list. I know that might upset a couple people, but you gotta understand this movie is not as good as it needed to be. It should have been a better movie. It shouldn't have been rushed. We should have done Man of Steel 2 before we did Dawn of Justice. We needed to flesh out our Superman before we brought Batman in. So that's my humble opinion on this. Let's get into our next movie on our list. So that's our number 8 on our list. Coming in at number 7. Number 7 on our list. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm just pulling up the list real quick. Coming in at number 7 is Wonder Woman. Okay, Wonder Woman is one of those movies, the first Wonder Woman in 2017, that just you watch it and the first 2 acts of this movie are incredible. It's funny. It has a great charm. Gal Gadot crushes it as Wonder Woman. The No Man Land action sequence is fantastic, and it delivers, and it's great. And the music, It's so good, and I love it. I thought they crushed it. I thought they did a brilliant job with this movie. I was happy. I was satisfied with it for the most part. But unfortunately, the reason it's only at number 7 is the third act did bring this movie down, because the third act ended up having Ares, but the CGI in Ares was horrible. The lasso looked bad. They shot scenes at night, and just unfortunately, this movie is good. But like some of the other movies, it's not quite as good as the movies that are higher up on my DC rankings list. So anyway, guys, that's number 7 for you. Let me know your thoughts on it. That's my thought. We're heading into our big movies now. Coming in at number 5 number 6. Coming in at number 6 is Man of Steel. Now this is a controversial take for many people. I want you to know, I do like this movie. Man of Steel is a good film, but there are far more flaws I have with it that just unfortunately it's hard for me to give this movie a higher score. But I do think that at number 6 is a good place for it. It's a good DC movie. Henry Cavill's Superman, the introduction to him was really good. How they did this, the message of hope, I really liked the message of it. The score, I love how both Russell Crowe and how Superman's relationship with both his dads, both Jor-El and his farm dad, both were really good. I loved how they handled things. Some of the CGI was good. The runtime was fine, except for one thing. When you are Superman, and even when you're learning your powers, when Superman is fighting Zod and Zod's minions are able to beat up Superman for about 30 to 40 minutes of their screen time. They have a Superman fight scene that goes on way too long. And it just is disappointing because Superman is faster than a speeding bullet. He should be able to make easy work of these guys, especially on his planet, especially on Earth, where his powers are being charged up. So I was disappointed that happened. And while many people liked the Superman snapping Zod's neck scene, I have issues with it. I think Superman could have found another way to save people. I do think this could have been handled better. But it is still a good movie. There's good chemistry. Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams, is good. Perry White's great. Everyone in this is pretty good. And I did enjoy Michael Shannon as General Zod. I thought he was intimidating. He's one of the better DCEU villains. And it was nice to see him in The Flash. So, anyway, guys, that's my take on Man of Steel. Coming in at number 5 on this list, we got Aquaman. Now, some people think Aquaman is too cheesy, but I love how this is kind of like, this feels like an MCU movie, but it's a DCEU movie. It's got a lot of humor. Aquaman's great. Cameron Morrison playing Aquaman's dad is great. I think their chemistry is great. I love Nicole Kidman as Aquaman's mom, Queen Atlanta. She gets a badass fight scene in the beginning of this movie, and she's so cool. And I really liked her character. Amber Heard's in this movie, or Amber Turd, whatever you prefer. And unfortunately, while I hate this actress, the character of Mira I always wanted to see. And I like how she uses her water powers, where she uses the wine and liquid to defeat her enemies. It was pretty cool. And her connection with Aquaman is pretty interesting in this movie. I love what they do with Jason Momoa's Aquaman in this movie. He's one of my favorite Justice League members. He's hilarious. He's got great action scenes. There's some sword fights in this movie, some fun times, some cool space travel under the water, some good jokes, and some fun stuff. And seeing him in the classic orange and green suit lived up to the hype. And Black Manta was a very good villain. I can't wait for him to stand in as the main villain of Aquaman Lost Kingdom. I hope it turns out pretty good. I'm happy with number 5 for this movie. I think it's a good place for that movie to be. Number 5 is a perfect place. Alright, coming in at number 4 is Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn. This movie is the Harley Quinn movie we've been waiting for. They brought the stunt choreographers from John Wick to do the fight scenes. We have Harley on roller skates. We have Ian McGregor playing Black Mask, screaming at the TV going, fuck, fuck, fuck. And it just is awesome. This movie works for me. You have Ian McGregor's wife, Elizabeth Winstead, playing Huntress. The Birds of Prey were handled well. I enjoyed their characters. I think they crushed it. I think they did a great job. It's a fun movie. Black Canary was good. How they fit together, seeing all these women kick ass together, was a ton of fun. It's got a great soundtrack. Ton of fun movie. Great. Margot Robbie shines in the role, and I did enjoy it quite a bit. Alright. Coming in at number 3 on the list. It's also really violent. Number 3 on our list is Shazam. The first Shazam is fantastic. It is a fun movie. You get this wonder of this guy. Zachary Levi crushes it in the role, playing this like kid that's an adult, that's in the body of an adult. You know, the drinking the beer, the having the snacks, having fun, having the little Shazam moments. Mark Strong plays a pretty interesting villain, and getting to see him, the Santa from Shazam moment is great. It was fucking crazy, man. Crazy as fucking hell. Like, it was so good. I love this movie. I think it's so fun. It's one of my favorite movies to watch at Christmas time, guys. It has this great, it's a wonderful life quality to it, and it's so fun, and I really like it. I think it's a fun movie. It's really fun. Which is why it gets number 3 on the list. Coming in at number 2, The Suicide Squad from James Gunn. Now, I know most of these characters are probably going to end up in the new DC universe, but this movie's got it all, man. James Gunn was told, DC's like, you want to work for us? You can have any character you want. You want to make Batman rated R? You want to do this? You can do whatever you want. Just make us money. He's like, I want to make a good Suicide Squad movie. So he takes D-list characters like Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man and make them cool. And he makes Polka Dot Man badass. It was awesome. But then he's got new characters like Bloodsport, who replaced Deadshot and are really badass. Idris Elba crushes it. And he's hilarious. You got John Cena in this movie as Peacemaker, and it led to an iconic, amazing show that James Gunn made, which I can't wait for season 2. I love Peacemaker. They made him this horrible, like, douchey Captain America. It was brilliantly made. The action scenes are incredibly brutal. This is why a rated R movie for the Suicide Squad should be like. King Shark's great, played by Sylvester Stallone. And of course, Margot Robbie gets some outstanding fight scenes in this movie, and she is absolutely amazing as Harley Quinn. I love this movie so much. I think it deserves all the praise in the world. It's one of my favorite James Gunn's movies by far. Let me know your thoughts on The Suicide Squad in the comments below. And of course, coming in at number 1, The Flash. Now, this movie is controversial for a lot of people, but I love this movie. This is not just one of the best DCU movies. This is the best multiverse movie we've had in live action. Now, I know the Spider-Verse movies, you know, they're really good. They got really good moments. But this movie's like A Wonderful Life meets a better version of Last Jedi. It's handled well. The characters, the way that they're represented, and we won't do spoilers for yet because I'm doing a spoiler talk later today. But just know I love this movie. I love the sense of humor. Andy Muschietti is a genius. And seeing Michael Keaton on the big screen again made me want to get nuts all the time. And yeah, he's Batman. I love his Batman. He has an incredible fight scene in this movie. The multiverse aspect here. So many cool cameos. This movie works for me. It just works. And you can complain about the CGI all you want, but the way the Flash's powers work, this movie felt like the beginning of a Justice League / Justice League Unlimited episode. It was so fun. It's a great DCEU movie, a great send-off to the DCEU, and I can't wait to see what happens with Aquaman, Lost Kingdom, and whatever else, but I love Ezra Miller in this movie. I thought everything was great in this movie. Look forward to my spoiler review. There are some nitpicks I'm going to get into, but overall, this is my DCEU ranking list. Let me know your list, guys, in the comments below. Remember, my list isn't the right list. It's just my list, and I would love to know yours. So I'll catch you guys in the next video, and I'll see you then.